you get it? Is it on?
Welcome to another episode of Taking Over the World with Ed and Aaron. What's up, buddy?
What is up, buddy boy?
What are you doing? This was
Wow, I knew it wasn't going to take long for you to go full squirrel on us.
this
You've
has been a rough way to get it going today.
A rough way to get it? Oh, this podcast has been rough to get going.
Yeah, today has been tough.
It has. I mean, for good reasons.
Yeah, we've been busy and talking about different things, but geez, we've been trying to get this like off the ground today, and it's just been like
You're all jacked up today, aren't you?
I'm jacked today.
I feel like your energy is at like a 11 today.
You know why?
Oh, well, I got a couple of reasons why, but I'm going to let you go ahead and answer it.
Well,
before
Friday's the main reason.
Okay, that's what I was kind of thinking, but
So
you just couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't. So Friday's a holiday for us.
Yeah.
You know that, right? It's
Vegas Day, Nevada
Day.
Nevada Day.
Day.
Nevada
Is
Day.
it Nevada or Nevada?
Nevada. I'm going Nevada.
We'll go with Nevada. So it's Nevada Day. So everything here is closed because it's Nevada Day, except for we're actually open. So I went on an appointment on Monday. Mm-hmm. Really good one, commercial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was right down the street from my buddy.
Ooh,
Johnny Tahiti.
Johnny boy.
Johnny boy. Right down the street. So I told Johnny boy, I was like, hey, let's go, let's have a consultation.
That's not a good thing.
It's a really good thing.
Okay.
It's a really good thing.
I think it's in the eye of the beholder.
I behold it. And it's good.
Oh, fair play. Well played. Well played.
So yeah, Friday I'm going to go do a little more addition to the spectrum here.
So then it really is true that I've always heard people say, listen, once you get your first tattoo, it's like it becomes an addiction.
100%.
Because I mean, I don't have any, and people was like, no, I won't get very many. I'm just gonna get one, or I'm gonna get this, and then people are always like, no, I don't know, like don't say it because like they're pretty addicting. Like I don't think I know anybody that just has like one tattoo.
So the thing is, right? I don't know if it's personality or if it's like what drives that. Because my personality is I'm all in. Like I like to be all in on everything.
Sure.
Right? Whether all into other people or all in for what I
Hey, well, careful, bro.
No, come on. Like it just depends. Like I always want to play full throttle. Like I want to make sure that I do everything. So my first part of the tattoo was always just like it's just a tattoo. Mm-hmm. But then when he told me he had other things planned, I was intrigued. So then when we had the consultation, I told him what I wanted. Like we knew what we were doing. But then when I went to talk to him this time, I told him that we had our consultation. He's like, okay, what do you have envisioned for the next part? Because everything on my tattoo now means something. Sure. So I said, well, I really don't know what I want. And he says, okay, so that's awesome. Because now we get to do what in the...
Family portrait.
No.
Oh, that would be awesome.
In the Polynesian, Samoan, Tahitian style, it's... They say that the guy doing the tattoo, your tattoo artist, he gives you a gift by doing what he interprets like your journey is and what your everything is.
He gives you a gift that you pay for.
Well, of course.
That's not really like normally when you give a gift, it's like, hey, it's awesome, thank you. You're paying for the gift. It's not a gift anymore. It's a service.
No, it's a gift.
Okay.
Because he's
planning
it out.
Okay.
Well, that music is amazing.
And then we walked through the prairies and fell upon the flowers. And we had a little picnic. I feel like was that not what was going through your head with that music?
For sure.
Like I envisioned a couple of people like frolicking in the fair. I like it. Something else to talk about today.
So basically, he's gonna.
So he's gonna search deep into your soul, and he is going
based on our conversations, based on what he's seen, that my like going to the gym all the time and how my life is going, the journey I'm on. and he's gonna draw it out based on the journey.
So he's almost like, like a fortune tale palm reader, but he's just basing it off of what he currently sees. I mean, I feel like all those guys are fake anyway, like those fortune tellers. Like you give them they ask enough questions, so it's like, yeah, like, well, how is your relationship like with your father? Like, oh, not very good. He's no longer with us. And they're like, I feel like there's a missing male presence in your life. Well, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Like, didn't take freaking NASA to figure that out, right? Like, what are we doing here?
I think you're very skeptic.
Yeah, I mean, listen. First of all, listen, Linda. If you had the ability to
that's very un-Hispanic of you, by the way,
see the future or look at this, then I would start going into sports books, or I would start going over to the MLB. Like I would go to the World Series and I would be like, oh, okay, Mookie Betts. Yes, I see your future. You win the World Series in 5 games. $1 million on the book. Like if they really could see the future. I feel like there's more. There's more opportunity to go with what they're doing.
Do you think it's going to be Dodgers in 5?
I don't know.
I think it's going to go 7.
This is. Sorry, I didn't want to get every tattoo. So he's going to now transform your journey, the path that you have been on to get to this point. He's going to map it out and ink it into you.
Ink it into me.
I saw a reel the other day where some guy was having a complete leg blackout removed, and I'm just like, at first I didn't know what they were doing, and then I read the captions ink removal, full dark, and it
hurts.
Yeah, and then it's not even all the way gone. It's when you're riding a dry erase board and you leave it there for too long and you erase it, but you can still see it, and it just ticks you off, and you got to get a new board anyway.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we are. I feel like you just commit to the black at this point. Now you're just
I wouldn't go full. I'm not going full black.
See, I'm gonna get beat up on the streets because here's my thought. If you went full black,
right,
with the tattoo, you having it erased where people can still see it. I think that just shows you're kind of like a pansy now.
I don't know if you call somebody who goes through the pain.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get beat up. I'm gonna get jumped on the streets.
You're gonna get jumped
for sure.
But
it's okay, you made the commitment to go full black on your arm, leg, whatever, Machine Gun Kelly, right? He's got black, which actually his is pretty cool because he's got he even said he loved
Machine Gun Kelly.
Why?
Because Eminem shut him the fuck up.
Oh.
And made him be a little pop singer now.
Okay, that's fair. However,
he came after Eminem and now he's a little pop boy. Come on.
I feel like going after Eminem's never a great strategy. By the way, best friend of the show.
Eminem's a man.
Yeah, the real Slim Shady stand up. But he's he left pieces of it not blacked out. He's oh, I wanted to be able to still see the past, whatever. But I feel like if you black it all out, it's a tough look if you revert back. I get it if you put I
don't know about going through that pain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, I love Mary. That was your first of all, Mary's a high school girl name for sure, right? Mary, that's a lot of high school, right? You're in love, your first love. I love Mary in a big heart, on right here, okay, get it covered up.
Mom or something.
I love mom. There you go. Because that's not something you cover up, okay? But I love Mary. Let's call I love Lucy. There, is that better? Okay, you have I love Lucy, and at some point you're that TV show ran its course. I think probably should cover this up. That was dumb.
Right.
You can cover it up. That's probably cool. But I feel when you go a full blackout arm or something, I feel once you commit to that, I feel you just got to live with it. I don't think you can erase that.
I haven't seen any full blackout tattoo guys that I think I would want to call them a wussy.
That's fair.
Fair. I think I'd get, pretty manhandled by them.
On a scale of wussiness, I'm a -5 because I didn't even get the full black or the removal. So they're way cooler than I am.
You didn't even get a regular tattoo. You didn't even get the 3 little dots or something.
No, I'm just saying. I feel that faded look.
How about if I paid for the tattoo? Would you get it?
No, that doesn't make it any better.
You wouldn't do it even if I paid for it?
It's not a financial issue. I don't want the needle jamming in and out of my skin.
What if you went and got...
I would have buyer's remorse.
What if you got an ASU?
No. Because I love ASU.
You don't want the Sun Devil?
I don't need it on me, no. If I have so many ASU shirts, I'll just throw it on.
It's not the same.
But why is getting an ASU tattoo Like, what does that make me more of a diehard fan?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I get really pissed at ASU and I can rip my shirt off. I can't just like scrub that thing off.
Like diehard fans are the ones that get a Super Bowl tattoo.
Before they win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That's dumb.
And then they have to exit out because they didn't win it.
It's like getting a tattoo that says no regrets. It's not a good idea. It's like the what is it, the hype train commercial with Dr. Pepper, like getting on the hype train when he got it and then they lost their quarterback. Yeah. No, I'm not committed to any of it. I'm not committing to sports teams.
Speaking of commitments, how are you committed to our new Bold program? What do you think of that? Because this is your first time going. I've gone 3 times.
Humble brag, no big deal. No big deal.
Oh, I'm not even close to the top ones.
I like it. I think it's cool. I was having actually a talk with Eric about this today, and I like it for a lot of reasons. And it could just be like fangirl syndrome, like it's something new, it's a shiny object.
Fangirl syndrome.
Yeah, like when you get all fangirl out on something, like, that's so like blah blah blah, right? I mean, like I text you today, it's like I feel like a kid getting ready for school, like I was excited because I didn't know what it was.
And then you said you wanted to kick me in the.
Well, yeah, that's because you made a comment that was just not cool, bro. So I like Mr. Stephen McNair. I think he's got a good personality. I think he's got a good balance of funny and teaching. And it's not all stories. Like, I think there's learning to be done.
Right.
And it lines up a lot of what I've been trying to do and a lot of the coaching I've already gotten, like it's very similar stuff. And it's kind of I feel like it's a modern day Bold. I've never been to another Bold to compare it, but from what I'm kind of hearing and gathering, it's like
it's different.
Bold, but modern Bold. Like they finally revamped it a little bit to account for things like social media, YouTube, and direct messaging and text message and video content. Like yesterday, one of his things yesterday was make a post. Like, I've never been to Bold, but has there ever been in Bold? Like, hey, I want you to make a post today and ask out this, like.
So there was a post, but it was more of ask a question.
Right.
And it wasn't like the question we asked yesterday. It was more of like, hey, do you like Coke or Pepsi? It was just to get some kind of engagement. Right.
So I like that. And I think, so one of the things that I keep reverting back to that he did yesterday was the start and stop drill. Okay. Where it was pain versus pleasure. Right? And so you had to like kind of think like, what are the things, if you wanted to take yourself to the next level, what do you need to start doing today? From just a personal life, from personal goals to business goals, like to be a better person, the person that you envision yourself being, what do you need to start doing right now and stop doing right now? Okay. And it's funny because at first I was like, I sat there and I looked at my paper for it felt like 5 minutes. Like it was like, I was like, what am I going to write? And then it's probably like 30 seconds. And then I started going. And the things was like, start getting up on time. Start eating healthier, like making better decisions. Start, being better with my time management, and things like stopping, like stop staying up too late, stop eating, unhealthy snacks after dinner, stop. Then it gets into like business, like stop avoiding things, stop waiting, stop trying to make everybody else happy. Cause I think that's, like one of my things, like I don't like to be not liked.
Right.
So I want to do everything for everybody or not ask anybody to help me with anything because I want to do it because I'm afraid of putting them out. They might be upset or asking for help because it's like I want to do everything for everybody else and put everybody else first because I don't want them. I want everybody to like me. I have that. I don't know if it's a hemolyco fear or something. I don't know. I just made that up. I don't know. I'm sure there's something to it, right?
Right.
But it was like things like that, like stop putting things on your calendar and negotiating with them. So I've like the more I started going, and I was just like, wow, it started to unwrap some levels of like clarity,
right?
And we'll see. I'd like to say that like I'm very committed to that. I know it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take, I even started reading the book, The Power of Habit. Because I've read Atomic Habits, which is really good, but I had a beautiful ride up to Mount Charleston today. And I had just finished a book, the How to Influence People. And so I started reading that. I started listening to that one in the car. And it was really cool because that's where they started talking about keystone habits and how one keystone habit can transition and like basically blossom into all these other habits that naturally occur. Like if your keystone habit is get up at 5 a.m. to get your day started, well, naturally you start to develop a bedtime habit because if you don't, you're going to be grumpy, you're going to be tired, and then you can't execute your 5 a.m. habit.
Right.
And so it's pretty cool how all of it starts to work. And I know it's a process and, you know, I have to get there and stuff. But yeah, so I liked, like, that was kind of like, I was like very philosophical. You know, yeah, that's what I'm going with today.
You're philosophical?
I might be a philosopher. But yeah, so that, I mean, I dug it, you know, like it made you really look at what you're doing in life and in business and kind of like really just like give yourself a reality check. Like,
There's so a lot of the programs that Keller Williams puts on are very introspective.
folks, we are getting deep today. Very philosophic. I don't know.
You know, and they all make you think like, okay, what if
Yeah.
I did this or what if I did this, and the key, I think, right after being through a bunch of different programs and trainings and stuff like that, is you always get good ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this morning, I came in and I was like, hey, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
I know I think about this.
Sure.
I've been talking about this with my coach, and now this lady, like even more important, we need to focus on making some changes and doing some things a little better. But the key is it just going to happen for the 5 weeks,
Yikes.
or is it going to be a permanent habit and a permanent change to the way you operate? Because I feel that that's what differentiates the teams that succeed and the people that succeed to the people that don't. Is some will take it and say, hey, for 5 weeks, I'm going to crush this. And they crush it for 5 weeks. And then the 5 weeks are over. And they stop crushing it because the 5 weeks are over.
I think you're spot on. I think it comes into like the accountability. I think it comes down to, are people doing it to check a box or are they doing it to change their lives? Because like we can all say like, well, listen, I have a goal. Like how many people have ever been like, hey, I'm going to work out for 30 days. I'm going to, what do they do? Like dry January, right? Like whatever. Like if
No
people are
shave
just,
November.
no, like,
Yeah.
are people doing things just to check a box to be like, hey, this is not a lifestyle change. This is just an activity that I feel like, hey, if I do this, like, that's pretty cool. Or is it a lifestyle change? I think there are a lot of people that are going to go and be like, yeah, I went through bold. And they're going to be like, I checked this box, I checked this box, I checked this box. And they're looking at a box checking program instead of like if you, and I think like what would the comment yesterday was play all in, right? And so I think for those that play all in and like change the concept of how they're thinking and are open-minded enough to be like, yo, this is not a 5 week quick fix. This is like, even Andy, when I was talking to her about it, she's like, so is it like a 1 day thing? I'm like, no, like this is a 5-6 week course.
It's supposed to be transformational.
Exactly. And I think that's what's going to be interesting to your point. Like I look at it as like, okay, we all get to a point in our career at some point. It's like the old saying, like shit or get off the pot.
Right.
And you see, there's some agents lately that have gotten off the pot.
Right.
And for their own reasons, and that's fine. But I think if you, like when you started doing someday goals yesterday, right? I didn't even know what to put. Because they're like, whatever you're going to put, think bigger. And then as I started breaking it down, I'm like, this is ridiculous, Aaron. Like, what are you doing? And then it started going through my brain. I was like, well, why not?
Well, see, that's
why
funny.
not?
It's
Why
funny
can't
that
you
say that? Because like someday goals for me are super easy.
Really?
Like that is the easiest. What
was your someday goal yesterday?
I want to have our team in every single market in the country.
Yeah.
I want to have a private jet. I want to have the ability to help and impact businesses and people, both people in our real estate space and help them succeed and help single family. Like my whole thing was I want to help people buy houses. I want to help people build businesses. So today in the parking lot, I talked to somebody. I'm like, hey, how you doing? They're like, hey, I need help with Habitat for Humanity that wants to build houses for people. And we're looking for something. Can you help?
You focus on expands, bro.
Focus on expands. And that's the thing is, like, So to me, someday goals are great, and I always go back to the story of Grant Cardone, real good friend of the show, love the guy.
Best friend of the show.
You know, when he was going to buy his first plane, right? He went and he was asking all his friends. He's like, "Hey, should I buy a plane?" And everybody that he knew said it was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Don't buy a plane. It's horrible. It's a lot of money. You're spending a ton of money. Then one day he was sitting down thinking. He's like, "Of course you're going to say no. None of them own a plane."
Yeah,
Let me go ask Tony Robbins and all these other guys
Sure.
that actually own planes and ask them their opinion on owning a plane. So he changed his perspective. He went and asked the people that own planes, and all of them, to a fault, everyone was like, "Bro, you got to get a plane. You conduct business on the plane. You do so like your travel time from point A to point B is not travel time anymore. You're actually conducting business. You're holding conferences. You're doing other things. You're planning your next day. It's a great thing to do. So it's not. So to me, someday goals. If you talk to people that are small-minded, and that only have a goal of, hey, let me make enough to pay my bills today. That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
If you need to talk to people that are like, oh, dude, I want to take over the world. I want to own everything. I want to do everything. And what's the worst that can happen? You don't own everything, but you get a lot. You know, it falls into when I met Tony from Chili's, that she came to our table crying that day, and she's like, I just need an apartment. I need a place to rent. They're kicking us out. They're kicking our sons out because animals and stuff like that. We need to find one place that we can all live together. And I'm like, okay, I can help you. And her idea at that moment was, hey, let me just get an apartment. I just need a place to live. And I sat down with her and I'm like, no, we're going to get you a house. I took her to the house. She's like, oh my God, the house is so far. I had to drive 25 minutes to get to work, and I'm not used to driving that far, and blah, 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 nya. Whatever. And I was like, well, this is what I can do for you. I know the owner. We're going to rent it. I can get you to rent in there, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure that you get the rental. We'll work on your credit. We'll work on getting you lined up. And a year later, she bought her house. You talk to her today, she loves her house. For the first year that she rented the property, her husband wouldn't let her hang TVs on the wall.
Oh, yeah, I remember
because
that.
he said he didn't want holes on the wall. And then have to patch it when they have to move out. Now she loves her house. So I love having that impact. But if she would have dealt with other people that would have told her...
They'd have blew her off for sure.
Would have blown her off. My credit score is not good. I don't have a checking account. I make tips, so I pay everything cash. Like, everybody would have been like, yeah, go pound sand. I'm not going to waste my time. Right? But she luckily ran into us. We had known her for a couple of years prior to that. And I dream big. Like, yeah, why can't you buy a house? Everybody can buy a house. You just have to line up things to be able to buy a house. We'll help you line it up. So that's what I think is, when you're thinking of the someday goals, it's that. Like, I think a lot of people figure, oh, well, I have to get there. And you think of your someday goal and you say, okay, if my someday goal is to, I don't know, make $2 million a year, how am I going to, where I'm at today, how am I realistically going to make $2 million in 5 years or 10 years?
Right.
Where I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to say, well, I need to make $2 million. How will find its way? We just got to start working. And we just got to start grinding. We just got to start doing. And then things line up. And then, like you said, would you focus on expanding? You start focusing on these things, and all of a sudden, you're making $2 million. You're like, how the hell did this happen? Well, because you focused on it.
Listen, I don't disagree here. What I used to say all the time in our other business, like business breeds business. Like when you were busy, people want to, they're intrigued, right? They're like, why are you so busy? Are you that good? Is the service that good? Is the value there? Like, what is, I need to be part of this.
Give you stuff away. Like, everybody goes to, what are you doing?
The curiosity wants to be there.
Right.
And so now I think into real estate, it's like, I feel like there's, I think the people that, like, again, it goes back to one of the bold truths from yesterday, which you focus on expands. And people, like, there are agents that focus on it's slow, the market's bad, nobody's buying, nobody's selling, the rates are too high, they don't have anywhere else to go. And it's like, If that's your focus, then you are going to be slow. You're not going to do any business. And where you flip the script is like, we're as busy as we've ever been.
Okay.
And like, you started, well, I don't even want to take your glory from today of what you were talking about, but it's like, like focusing up to Mount Charleston. That thing's going to close tomorrow. What we thought was coming in the spring now is coming probably next week again on another one, and you got a piece here, a piece here. I had one that, we started focusing on the move. Then the pieces lined up like, well, yeah, let's sell and move. It was kind of like, well, there was one house and we're going to kind of make it work for it. Now it's just in general, hey, we're just doing it, and John's writing offers, Eric's got offers. Like everybody is in production.
So let me ask you a question. So in our world, right? Because we try to keep our world hyper focused on what we do, right? In our world, do we talk negative about it being slow and there's no activities?
We don't in ours, no.
No, that's what I'm saying. In our world,
we never do.
We never do. We never say the interest rates are too high. We never say it's too busy. We don't have buyers. We don't have sellers. We don't say that.
Right.
Are we impacted by what everything else is going on? No, because we still have business.
Right.
We're still going. Because our focus is on find the deal. There's a deal. People are buying and selling houses.
100%.
Whether people like it or not, whether people want everybody to shut down because of the elections and the interest rates are too high and everything sucks and nobody's going to do anything, people are still doing. People still need to move. People still want to buy. People still want to sell.
People are still being relocated. There's a real need for it.
There's still a need where people have to do these things.
Yeah.
But instead of us focusing on what they're not doing, we're focusing on how do we help them do what they need to do.
Well, and I think that's the biggest difference is you coming from that bringing value, that helping standpoint. It's putting their why out there and understanding what their why is. And so many agents make it about them. And I think I was having this conversation yesterday with some people about open houses. I was like, what's the first thing you say? When you're like, it's like, oh, they're like walk in and they're like, hey, welcome. This is a, X amount listing. This cost this much. This is what the list price is. This is how many square feet is. This is how many bed. This is how many bath. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, interesting. And I was like, how do they normally receive that? They're like, it seems like it's in 1 year out there. Yeah, you lost them. They already know. Like they're at the house. They can start to see like, well, what do you say? I was like, the first thing I do is I look at them and I'm like, hey, dude, those shoes are awesome. Or hey, the guy's wearing like a Bill's shirt. Like, oh, Bill's Mafia's. You guys are a little crazy out there, aren't you? And like, I find something to talk about other. And then and actually, I've learned it a while ago from a guy that I used to watch and follow. But Steven said it yesterday, and I'm not sure how many people actually heard what he said. But he's like, you've got to create a pattern interrupt.
Right.
Okay. And so that's the pattern interrupt. When people walk into an open house, they're expecting to see an agent that's just like it's sitting on the curb when you go to a car lot, whether it's new, used, that they jump up, they throw down their cigarette, they smash it out and they run over to you. What kind of car are you interested in buying today? Like, you traded in that one. What do you want to buy? What can I bring around for you? Right. It's like, whoa.
Nelly.
Yeah, I just came to check out. Like, I'm gonna give me a second.
Looking, right.
Like we, if I like some stuff I see out here, or if I have a car, like I just got in, right? And so right away you get on your defenses, and so I think it's the same thing for open house. You walk in and hit them with like, boom, boom, boom. You looking to buy? You pre-qualified? You got proof of funds? Are you working with an agent? Right? Like, oh, hold on. Like, let me get inside the door. Like, and then we can talk. And you got to establish that first. And so I think a lot of it is, the way we go about things, the perception we give people. And when you start to bring value and build the relationship and, when they walk out like, hey, listen, is it a great house for you? I don't know. You're the only one that can answer this. I can't force you into this house, but if this isn't the house, how can I help? Right? The famous Post-it note that we got everywhere. How can I help? But so many of these people, agents, are so me focused, like, well, like, yeah, you should buy this house. It's a great house. I think you should put in an offer. Like, you need someone to write you the offer. It's like, well, now it's not about them.
Right.
Now it's about you writing an offer, trying to get compensated for doing this job that really you haven't brought any value to this person.
Right.
And so I think that's a big thing of why there's a difference between people that get out of the industry, leave brokerages, because they need to try something else, or the grass is greener on the other side, when it's simple as, how can I help you? We're in the relationship business.
So speaking of grass is greener,
ooh,
what is the bold
7? No, that's not it.
No.
Oh, okay.
What is the bold rule that you chose to focus on this week?
Oh man, I wrote it down. I didn't
You didn't
memorize
circle it?
yet. I wrote it down in my book. Um, what? It was something about your personal life.
Grows to the extent
That
you
goes
do.
to the extent you do, something like that.
Okay.
And so the reason I wrote it down, I guess if I wrote it down, I should probably be better at remembering what it says.
No, but that's fine.
But
That's
it was,
what it is.
I mean, there was like 38 of them or
Your
something.
business life grows to the extent that your personal life.
Yeah, it was something to do with that. And the reason I wrote it down is because, like everything I've talked about with my coach, the things that like we've been talking about, the journey that you're on, it's like, it's inspiring, and it's like, it comes back to the thing is like, I used to think like I said earlier, putting others first. Okay, I got to get up at 5 a.m. so like I can get lunches together or this or do something for my wife or answer this or do work for clients. It's like, okay, that's great. But like, what about you? Then you're not taking care of yourself. So I think what the whole reason I wrote it down was if I put me first, and that sounds selfish, but if I make sure I'm eating right, if I make sure I'm exercising properly, and I take care of myself where I'm in a good state, physically, mentally, how does that translate now to my wife, my kids, my clients, the business, the life I want? If I'm the best version of myself, I'm actually being now, I'm being able to give more and be a better human for everybody I interact with. So, like, I don't know if that's trying to like self-fulfilling prophecy, like take care, like to justify being selfish, but that's why I wrote it that way is like, if I become the best version of myself, I can do so much more for others.
They said yesterday, which I think is true, is you can't fill a cup. You can't fill up somebody else's cup with your empty cup.
Yeah, that was good.
So that's the same thing, right? If you're not being the best version of you, how can you give to somebody else?
Right.
You can't. That being said, I chose the grass is greener where you water it.
Fair.
And I chose that because I think that a lot of times we in general, right? We always think there's a better option out there.
Oh, for sure.
Right? We think there's a better option if we switch spouses. Mm-hmm. We think there's a better option.
I just, for the record, I didn't think that.
No, but I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying I don't think that either.
Listen, it's okay. To each their own.
There's somebody that's going to get beat up when they get home. But you know what I'm saying? Like everybody thinks around like, yes. Oh, if I go here, it's a better job or it's a better, and it's like, well, if you're where you're at and you give it 120%, could you make it better there? Yeah. And in some cases, the answer is no. You can't make it better.
100%. But
are you really trying to make it better there? Or are you just fighting for an easy way out? Because you know what? It's easier than grinding through. It's the thing of, well, we've been together for 50 years or 20 years. Oh my God, my spouse is a pain in the ass. I want to go somewhere else. And then somebody says hi to you and you're like, oh, she's saying hi. She's friendly. Women do the same thing. A guy comes up and says hi, and oh, my husband's a pain. This guy's being hi. Let's be friendly.
My wife doesn't do that.
Oh, she does.
No,
Everybody does.
No, she doesn't.
But it's one of those things that that just happens, right? And it happens in business. People say, oh no, you know what? The market sucks right now. I'm going to go to another brokerage. Well, you know what? The market sucks at that brokerage too. And it sucks at every brokerage around town. And the interest rates are the same everywhere you go. It doesn't change. Well, so instead of just doing all the changing, why don't you just stay where you're at and focus? And do the things that you need to do and the activities you need to do in order to be successful. Why don't you spend an extra date night with your spouse? Like there's so many things that you can do in the world and to yourself to be a better version of you and be able to be a better version of what you want out of life. But we all always choose the easy way, which is to just jump.
Right.
So that's why I chose the grass is always greener where you water it.
I like it. And we've talked about that before. It's like work sometimes sucks. Right? Like, but it is what it is. So it's like if you go to another industry, you think that industry is going to be any better? Like you go from real estate to banking. You don't think there's going to be days where banking sucks? People are calling you like, what's happening in this market? Why is, like, where's my money? Like, like, it's going to stink. You go to customer service, yeah, you're going to have days where people chew you up. Like, it stinks. And it's like, like, obviously, we don't talk a lot about politics, and it's like, it's kind of the grass is greener on the other side. Okay? Whoever you vote for, that's up to you. It is what it is. At the end of the day, when they put a new president in office, because we do know that there will be a new president. That's what we know. 100%. Without a doubt, there will be a new president. And that day that they do, guess what I'm going to have to do?
Go to work.
Go to work. So it's like, yes, like I can bitch and moan about who it is or who it isn't and why it should have been and this. It's over.
Right.
If you've gone out and you've casted your vote and you've done your civic duty, then you know what? It is what it is. You've done your stuff. But like at the end of the day, no matter who's elected, there's going to be a lot of happy people. There's going to be a lot of unhappy people. So unless all the unhappy people think the grass is greener in a different world, like, all right, see ya. The USA is, last time I checked, you were free to leave.
That's it.
But it's like, no, I like the USA. Like, we've had good presidents. We've had bad presidents. We're still here. We still got to go to work. We still got families to take care of. We still got, obligations to handle. And so I think that's a really good one, because everybody, we see it in sports. So we see it like with kids and the baseball teams and soccer and stuff. It's like they always want to switch teams and switch this. And, they want a new coach. They get a new coach. Now they don't like that coach, They get a new, I don't like this girl's on our team now. Like, well, which way do you want it?
Well, that's what I think is hilarious, right? Because we'll use the Jets because I just love beating up on the Jets because I'm a Dolphin fan.
Because everybody else does?
No, I love it because I'm a Dolphin fan. So we always beat up on the Jets. But they fired Saleh.
Right.
So now they're going to make all these wholesale changes to the coaching staff, and they're going to change things around. They're going to win. They went out and laid an egg. Then it was like, oh, no, they're going to bring in Devontae Adams. He's going to be the game changer. They laid another egg. Like, if you don't have the culture and you don't have the people in the building that want to be in the building, doesn't matter what you do. You can bring in whoever you want. It's not going to be a healthy environment.
I agree.
So water where you are. Don't worry about who you bring in. Just water it and let it take care of itself.
On that note, let's get to watering.
Let's get to watering. Hope next week is a great day for you at the Bold, and you can have a great story to tell.
Listen, I will.
All right, have a good one.